January the 11th, 2026. Got just a quick video. I think it's interesting, and the timing is interesting to me also. There's been reports in last week that someone was very sick aboard the International Space Station, and they were going to have to be evacuated. And there's canceling of some of the other scheduled things that they were going to do on the shuttle. It's getting old, and it's got some damage. It's got some air leaks, and again, someone's very sick, and I don't know how this is tied together. But anyway, they're going to let Elon Musk go up and deorbit the entire International Space Station. It's going to take about 4 or 5 more years if it can last that long. But they've got a planet now, and I don't know how many future astronauts will be going there. It says the station is on the chopping block because it's old and expensive. The ISS was designed for a service life of about 15 years. By the end of this decade, it will be 30 years old, so it's 25 years old now. It says key systems are experiencing metal fatigue. Micrometeoroid damage and air leaks pushing the cost of operations to over $3 billion per year. NASA wants to redirect those resources towards the moon and eventually Mars. Developed by SpaceX, that's Elon, the U.S. deorbit vehicle, first time I've ever heard of it, will guide the ISS on the south into the South Pacific Ocean after operations cease at the end of 2030. And I don't know how many more manned orbits it will have on there, because when you start getting metal fatigue, air leaks, micrometeoroid damage, then you got problems. And also, Elon just had to not deorbit, but lower the orbit on thousands of his satellites because of the overcrowded problem. And anyway, the ISS is a low orbiter, not as high as some of the satellites. Anyway, I want to show you some of the information on this U.S. deorbit vehicle. It's very interesting because think about it. How would they deorbit it and get it into the South Pacific Ocean? It's very big. Now, this is an artist illustration, but what they're using, guys, is it's called, again, the USDV, or the United States Deorbiting Vehicle. It's a vehicle designed by SpaceX to put the ISS on a guided reentry trajectory at the end of its life. And what they've done is they've taken a modified cargo Dragon. That's what they call the capsules when they would bring supplies or people up there and take it back. Anyway, they've taken out a lot of that, and inside the capsule itself, they've added enough rockets to guide the ISS down. It says the USDV consists of a modified reused Cargo Dragon capsule with a large propulsion module replacing the usual trunk. So it's just going to come in there and connect to the space station as a rocket instead of a cargo vessel. It says the propulsion module features 30 Dragon thrusters. You can see in the back here, and about 15 tons of fuel. The capsule features 16 Dragon thrusters and handles the docking. The total launch mass, the weight of all of this, will be 30 tons. Think about that. In deorbiter, SpaceX is listed as the people behind it, and that's always been a good thing to me because I know that there's subsidies involved and NASA and dollars, but with Elon's money, it helps with the cost, I think. Anyway, 46 thrusters altogether, 16 on Dragon, 30 on the new trunk at the back, 2 fixed solar arrays, solar cells, and batteries. You can see those draped there. Now, what's going to be interesting to me is we've watched a lot of craft come down, satellites and flights, the space shuttle, things like that. What happens on the satellites is they get close enough to start what's called burn-in, and sometimes that'll be around 90 miles. And what will happen is the wings, like if you've got solar panels hanging out the side and antennas, they will burn off first. So the space shuttle is huge. Will they start to disassemble it somewhat, or will they guide it in completely intact? Because once you get, and you can see, if you let's take a look at the space shuttle as it is, the International Space Station as it looks today. Now, this is NASA's page for the International Space Station. It's been up 25 years, 280 plus astronauts have visited. And I think that's what's wrong with Mark Kelly's brain. Anyway, look at how big this thing is. And we're talking about, if you notice these modules here, one of these will be the thruster, probably one of the higher ones here. And you've got different nations that have connected to it over the years. It's expanding, continues to grow. And look at the solar panel arrays, things like that. But it's getting old. What will happen when this thing starts coming back in? Will that be, even the 46 thrusters, will that be enough to maintain a proper guidance with all of this friction? Because it would be no problem until it gets to burn-in. Again, where you start to see the disintegration of these satellites. And looks like meteor storm almost sometimes. Anyway, that's going to be interesting to see. It looks like all of these solar panels are foldable. They could be pulled up to decrease drag, and drag is going to be the problem. It's going to be interesting, guys. On our website at bpearthwatch.com, there's been a link there for 10 years on the right. Scroll down, and it's got the ISS tracker, International Space Station. You can tell, like, people that like to watch it with a silhouette, it gets to the moon and things like that. You can go there and track it and know when it's coming over you and look at the future and a couple of past orbits on it. But my point was, there's a lot of drag. Will they start letting the different nations come in and disassemble this, or their sections of it? Or will they try to attempt what to me would be a nightmare maneuver, burn through on something this large? And guys, this is what I'm talking about, the de-docking. This is the Russian Soyuz. It was the MS-27, and this was called Expedition 73. It is unplugging from the space station, and it is headed back to Earth. It's got this picture. It had 3 Russian astronauts aboard, and that's would be the best scenario to try to again take away some of the drag from this thing, and we may see more and more of that happening. It's already 10 years past its estimated life, and I really wouldn't feel comfortable there at all with air leaks and fatigued metal. And are they watching for something else? Again, you got satellite clutter, you got asteroids, meteorites, all of that, and they may know trouble's coming. I don't know, but again, it's set up because of fatigue. It'll be interesting over the next few years to keep an eye on that. And if they're planning on waiting that long, guys, but will they be able to? It may have to be depopulated and left hanging for a while. I don't know if it becomes unlivable. Again, there's somebody's really sick, and they're not bringing forth too much information about it right now, other than that crew may come home early. We'll see, guys. We're watching it. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.